3, 1, and the winner!
Grapevine, but I ain't hearing nothing great. No, they wanna take it all from me, so I give what it takes. Whole life been a miracle, seen everything but a cape. Why would I stop now? Found everything on a journey, but another way. Look.
Final show of 2024 took place this past weekend in Mumbai, India, and we have a new 2025 qualified Olympian. After years and years of trying but falling short, Manoj finally punches his ticket. But before we get there, let's quickly break down your top 3 finalists of the Mumbai, India show. And coming in at 3rd place, we have Anik Ganesh, another guy who has been running the gauntlet this past season, trying to punch his ticket to the Olympia. Another guy who continuously finds himself in the first callouts. Now, when it comes to this show, Anik brought a great package. One thing that he never misses out on is just his general fullness and size. He has a very dominant presence on stage simply due to those factors. But the one thing that does consistently hold him back is the inconsistency in the detail and conditioning. If you take a look at Anik's physique and you compare it to the top 2, there's no doubt that he has some of the best presentation and general posing within that first call out. If Anik can continue to bring the fullness that he's known for while also fine-tuning that conditioning and then perfecting that peak, he's going to be very, very hard to beat. And why do I know this? Because I shared the stage with him. And trust me when I say, this guy is no slouch. He will be a 2025 Olympian qualified athlete if he can do those 3 things. Since the Shuru Classic earlier this year, Amit has made night and day improvements. Since June, he's put on a lot of new muscle that was displayed this past weekend in Mumbai. After speaking with him after the show, he confirmed that he was aiming to play the full card. He wanted to come in bursting round to make sure that that new muscle was shown on stage. But by doing so, I do believe he sacrificed that detail and separation that he had just a few months back when he stepped on stage against me that truly allowed him to stand out. Even though Amit looked absolutely amazing, and I do believe this battle could have gone either way, there are still some small things that he can fine tune in order to maximize his potential. Starting off with his posing. Amit poses very front facing, and don't get me wrong, he looks great. But I believe if he can manipulate his waistline a little bit more in his front shot during the comparison rounds, it's gonna allow him to show truly how wide he is comparative to a smaller waistline. He doesn't have the smallest waist on stage, but again, manipulation, very similar to how Ali Bilal does, can truly take him a very, very long way. And then lastly, simply playing his own game. He is somebody who brings next level conditioning and detail the majority of time he steps on stage. He did it multiple times this season, but I do believe he tried to push it a little bit too hard, which if he did not do that, I do believe he would have won the show. And then he would have been qualified for the Olympia again, all within like 1 year. If you really think about that, that's kind of crazy. So with that, there's no doubt in my mind, I do believe he will be an Olympia qualified athlete. It's just a matter of time. It's so exciting to see, very similar to how Brazil was over the last couple of years. India starting to truly make a name for themselves in the bodybuilding scene, starting off with Bhuvan and then transitioning over to Amit. And now we have our winner, Manoj, who just punched his ticket for the very first time. And let's safe to say, this has been a long time coming. And Manoj has a really, really cool story. He has been somebody who's been chomping at the bits for a very long time, trying to punch his ticket. If you guys don't remember, Bhuvan has always been known for the guy to come out of India, the pride of India. But Manoj was that guy right behind him every single show, but now finally does it. And he will be standing on stage, potentially even with Bhuvan, if Bhuvan does qualify for the Olympia. So it's safe to say that India is going to have some pretty solid representatives at this year's Olympia. But Manoj looked absolutely amazing at this show. Now, the one thing that I will have to give credit for is simply how big and wide he was on stage. Manoj does not have a streamlined waistline. So he really did have to manipulate his posing in order to truly bring his physique to life, just like I recommend Amit to do. That's something that Manoj did do, which I do believe allowed Manoj to have that overall better taper on stage. And you know this meant the world to him, because if you take a look at the reaction after his hand was raised, I'm telling you guys right now, this is what bodybuilding's about. You know what I mean? Like you do everything in your power. You sacrifice and suffer for, 16, 18 plus weeks in order to get to this stage in this one moment. And seeing Manoj respond this way, it just, I don't know, man. It just as a bodybuilder, as a fan of bodybuilding, see, this is what bodybuilding is about. It's these moments. And one thing that I also want to give a little bit of advice to is Amit. You know, in this moment, if you take a look at Amit, you can see how hurt he was in this. And as somebody who stood on this very stage, and my hand was not raised, while the confetti came down, the crowd's reaction went wild, and I know how Amit is feeling in this moment. If you take a look at this video, you'll also see Amit just heartbroken. And if one piece of advice that I can give him as somebody who was literally, you know, in his shoes is, one, bro, this is nothing but fuel. You know what you need to do in order to get back to the moment of your hand being raised. And the reality is, you've been there, you know what it feels like. So it's not uncharted territory for you. So use this as nothing but motivation, brother. Nothing but love for these guys, man. India is coming. Hear me when I say this right now. India is coming. And it's safe to say they have some great representatives at the top. We have breaking news from Tyler Manion himself. Again, last week we found out that there's going to be a new division added to bodybuilding. And now we find out that there's going to be prize money increased for one of the biggest shows in the IFBB.
Tyler Manion here, NPC and IFBB Pro League Vice President, and I'm here with another exciting announcement regarding the prize money for the Pittsburgh Pro next year. For the men's physique division, we will also have a total of $50,000 paid out to our athletes. First place will get $25,000, second $10,000, third $7,500, fourth $5,000, and fifth $2,500. Again, we're very excited to bring this kind of prize money to the men's physique guys. I know we're going to have some top level competition here, and it's going to be a very exciting show. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in Pittsburgh May 10th and 11th next year.
All right, guys, so there's a lot to unpack here. Starting off with the fact that the Pittsburgh Pro has now increased the fifth place prize money to what the first place prize money would be in 99% of shows across the IFBB, which again, it's a domino effect, right? All you need is one to then potentially create an avalanche. We've seen it in other divisions, more specifically the open bodybuilding division. This is amazing. And then first place, $25,000. 25. And that is more than most open shows out there. So we are starting to see some consistency. You guys have heard me talk about it in the past. The men's physique prize money needs to be increased. The fact that the Olympians, the #1 bodybuilder in the world, only gets $50,000 just never sat well with me. But we are starting to see some consistency ever since Tyler Manion has become the vice president. You heard him say it. This is going to attract some of the top men's physique athletes in the world to compete. Not only do we have Ali Bilal, our current second place and runner-up of the Mr. Olympia, committed to doing this show. We have Edvon Palmero, your fifth place finisher. There's rumors that Vitor Chavez, somebody who's done it last year and multiple years, is coming back to do it again. He placed 7th at this year's Olympia. And the legend, Jeremy Potvin, has committed to doing this show. And not to mention Ryan Clark. And we can't forget Jeremy Buendia, a guy who has hinted multiple times at doing the Pittsburgh Pro ever since he decided not to compete at the Arnold Classic. Victor Ramirez, your 15th place finisher. We have so many guys using this as an opportunity not only to make money, but to solidify themselves as some of the best men's physique athletes in the world. And this show is shaping up to not only be more competitive than the Arnold Classic, which, let's be real, some of these names on here are definitely going to stand out when it comes to the Arnold Classic, but also I think that's the goal of what Tyler and the NPC is trying to do. I think they're trying to make this show the next Arnold Classic, you know, one step under the Olympia. And by throwing the kind of money that they are at it, and not to mention by attracting the people that they are and turning the whole entire experience into an expo just like the Arnold Classic, it's safe to say that they're trying to make this one of the best, if not the top show in the world under the Olympia. It's safe to say that the NPC and IFBB are doing everything they can to grow this sport. We talked about a new division and now more prize money being added. And we've seen that consistent trend over the last 2 years. And then just the overall experience for the actual fans. If you guys have ever been to the Olympia, I'm telling you guys right now, I've never seen anything like the Olympia this past year. It just compared to all of the years. It was just insane. And then of course, just the actual breakdowns and education of the sport and what the judges are seeing by Tyler Manion himself, right? So like, there's so many little things that we have seen over the last couple of years that I truly believe are simply allowing the outside world to be more connected with the inside world of bodybuilding, but also the athletes in themselves to actually, you know, get what hopefully they're putting in, right? They're sacrificing their bodies. They're sacrificing their time with their loved ones, and so many sacrifices, but they're starting to get rewarded for it. And it's safe to say that the current people at the helm of this is doing exactly what's needed in order to push this sport forward. And I'm honored to be a part of it, and I'm honored to be a fan of it. And it's really cool to see where the sport started to then where it is now. If you are interested in coaching, I'm now taking on 4 more spots for the 2024 season. All you have to do is click the link below. I would love to pick your brain, hear a little bit more about what your goals are, and see if we could be a good fit. And even if you're not looking for a one-on-one coaching experience, but you still want to have that crazy transformation, I am now putting on a challenge that is going to allow you to maximize your fullest potential by giving you your nutrition plan, your training plan, and all of the guidance that you need in order to feel confident in your body. So whether you're a lifestyle client or simply somebody who's been out of the competitive field for a long time and simply want to start getting those juices flowing again, make sure you click the link below for the 90-day transformation challenge. Feel free to shoot me an email or DM on Instagram if you have any specific questions, and it's only $50 to enter. And just like that, that is a wrap on the 2024 competitive season. And as we get ready to roll into the 2025 year, I want to take a quick second to thank each and every single one of you guys who have supported this channel, who have supported me trying to simply give back and give value to the division. Again, I would not be where I am if it weren't for you guys. And not to mention, I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for this sport. I always say I am a bodybuilding fan first, and I'm a competitor second. And then from there, I'm going to continue to educate you guys from my unique perspective of being on the stage while also, being in the stands and watching these guys on stage. So as always, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And until the next video, I'll see you. Peace.